So we will start to talk with Europe. Hi, Markus.
Hi there.
Who are you?
My name is Markus. I am 46 years old. I'm living here in Spain, Catalonia, since 2001. I'm engaged to a Spanish lady, and I have a son born here in Catalonia almost 10 years ago. I'm self-employed and I'm happily living here without any further preoccupations.
Sounds very nice. So where are we now? I mean, not here in the studio. So where are we in general? And what day is it today?
Well, currently we are in Palamos, Girona. That's the northern part of Catalonia, which is the autonomic area positioned on the north of Spain, northeast of Spain, on the Mediterranean Sea. Barcelona basically is the most well-known place of this area, and we are about 1 hour by car north of Barcelona and about an hour from the French border. So right on the coast, in a very lovely area. Today is Sunday, 1st of October 2017, and important day for Catalonia, the area where we're living.
So why is it so important?
Because the Catalonian people have fixed the 1st of October as day for a referendum, as day to vote their independence.
Very good. We also have a special visitor here sitting next to us, playing with her smartphone, with her iPhone, which she doesn't know how to use, but she has an iPhone. Okay. So don't worry, we will follow. And this special day today for the voting for Catalonia is a result of a long process. Can you tell the people a little bit about the process and what it maybe means to Spanish people or to Catalan people?
Well, obviously, the idea of independence searching the independence from Spain is a historical thing in Catalonia, which is not just recently, but it has become more and more important in the last few years due to the political situation in Spain as well as the economical situation. Obviously, that is one of the big points that nationalism has been coming bigger again, and at this point there is a very strong movement for the independence. Also, as the political parties, several political parties are pushing hard to achieve the separation from Spain and be able to control Catalonia, not only political but also for economical reasons.
I see. So when you speak about nationalism, as a German nationalism is maybe linked with a right wing, with a more traditional side. How do you link the Catalan nationalism, as you call it, and what is the difference maybe to independence in a independentista? Maybe you can try to explain this.
Well, I think the nationalism here is not as we know, maybe like in France or in Germany now recently. It's going through all different. Let's say it's going from the left to the right. Yeah, it's going from the old people to the young people. So this is not really some nationalism that is well. Having ideologic ideas of excluding some parts of the society, rather than being proud of having a history and the traditional upcoming, as well as having a own language and well, just be cultural, saying something independent, different from other areas of Spain. I mean, you obviously find this in other areas of Spain as well, like the Basque country or the Galician country. They also have own languages, own traditions, and so that is the origin really of the situation. Now, well, I think it's not the same type of nationalism that we have in other areas in Europe.
I see. Okay, this is quite interesting. Coming to also language, and as you already mentioned, now there are several languages in whole Spain. As we see other countries in Europe, we have maybe German speaking, German language. They are having their accents. In France, most of them they are speaking really French. Then they have also again a few accents, but there is not really independent language which is also still spoken or still in society. Here in Catalonia, there are around 7.5 million people speaking this language. When you came to Catalonia, did you ever had to speak Catalan, or do you speak only Spanish, or how do you live in Catalonia?
Well, thing is, when I arrived in 2001, to be honest, I didn't speak any Spanish, and I didn't know that Catalonia exists. This was the ignorance I was having when I first arrived here. I speak French and spoke Italian, and this was the way of communicating me here. Then I started learning Spanish, and met my wife, and she has we were talking Spanish at home, so that was the first thing. Nowadays, I can easily go by speaking in Spanish. So, as a German, people would not, let's say, abuse and you have to speak Catalan. Obviously, living in a small village, which is not as cosmopolitan as maybe Barcelona, people would rather respond to you in Catalan because it's the normal way of communicating, of talking on the road and everywhere. I mean, and thing is now with my son going to school here, obviously in schools, mainly all subjects are taught in Catalan, and but also there is the option to have Spanish classes. So this is not completely closed, like a closed thing that everything has to be in Catalan. Nowadays, I understand perfectly. I can speak, and but I'm not really forced to do so. And so I'm not really on a everyday practicing or talking. I have two partners in my business. They both Catalan, and we talk mainly Spanish.
Okay, and so this is quite interesting because this point of view, what you are showing, is rather different than in other European countries, I would say. So as we have now today this Catalan referendum day, let's call it like this.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what are they going to vote?
Well, the Catalans are going to vote the independence from Spain. So basically, they have the option yes or no. This is what they pretend to decide by today. Obviously, the federal government, the Spanish central government, is not very keen on this type of decision taken, let's say, overruling what is supposed to be the Spanish law, and therefore is trying to avoid this referendum, this voting of the Catalan independence.
So they also send their forces, the Spanish. This means they send a lot of policemen from the national police. We also have to mention that in Catalonia there is independent police, an independent force, and they took over control over these policemen last week. And so what do you suspect is going to happen today? Are the people voting? What is happening right now?
Well, first of all, I think the Spanish government, with the law in hand, has decided to avoid this day of election by by using all sort of let's say using all forces, the legal forces to avoid this voting. There have been detention of Catalan politics. They have tried to stop certain movements. Internet was tried to be paid. Websites have been closed down, and they have sent as well police from all over Spain to avoid that polling stations can be opened, that people can vote freely. And today, what we have seen so far on television is that Spanish police is there is also two types of police. One is the military police, which is the Guardia Civil. The other one is Policía Nacional, which is should be a little bit different or independent from the other. Then there is the third one, so you mentioned, which is the Catalonian police. So basically, they try to stop people from voting and really able to exercise a democratic vote, which should be able to everybody who's doing that in a free manner.
Okay, so what do you think the Spanish government is fearing, or Spanish people, and for, as you say, a legal votation? Can you also understand the Spanish, what they are fearing?
Well, obviously, as I said before, Spain has several areas where the independence movement is alive. Yeah, so the Basque Country is one of the most well-known areas, have a very dark time with the terrorist era, and so there is so what they don't want really is that the option of to lose the national unity should be avoided by all circumstances. Let's say there is I think there's a political this is a political interest. So there's also an economical interest. the Catalonia area is one of the richest areas in Spain. As we mentioned before, due to the economical problems in the last 8 years, since 2008, 2010, a lot of unemployment, a lot of economical problems that made the movement strong. So imagine Catalonia, which is paying about 20% of the Spanish household to Madrid, and only receives a smaller part back. Well, it would be a great loss for Spain. Let's say money-wise, economical, it would be a tough thing. On the other side, for Catalonia, it will also be a difficult thing, a very difficult time economical-wise. First of all, because I think about 70-80% of Catalan products are sold in Spain. That's one thing. And on the other side, talking for the community, it is not clear that Catalonia will be they won't be entering in the European Union from one day to another just because they declare an independence. So they will have the inconvenience of exporting products to the European community. That means you have to pay taxes, and that is very difficult. Talking on competition, you won't be competitive on pricing and on other stuff. So this is not so easy, neither for the Spanish nor not for Catalonia.
Okay, so we covered now very well the situation nowadays and the few outcomes of all these movements. Let's go back a little bit to history. When we in Europe was the Second World War, and what in the same moment happened in Spain. I'm trying to mention this because I think it's quite interesting for the people, then they can try to understand where this movement maybe nowadays is coming. Talking about repression or talking about uniting Spain. What was happening in this time when the crazy Hitler was trying to rule the whole world and whole Europe was trying to defend themselves? What happened in this moment in Spain? I mean, generally, not any details, but generally.
Yeah. Well, Spain was in civil war. There was it was reigned by dictator Francisco Franco. They were defending, let's say, the national, more the right national part, against Republicans who were fighting to get rid of monarchy, of the monarchy, and so they established really a regime, but it was a regime that was not really involved in the World War. Spain stayed aside of that, out of the World War really, but were fighting their internal civil war, trying to unify really what we were saying before, the Spanish country, with the obliging the Catalans to be Spaniards, the Basque to be Spaniards, and really to have just one Spanish government which is reigning the whole country with a very strong hand. And well, Francisco Franco was the dictator and was the leader of this area, this time, and he died in 75. And well, from there it starts a democratic process, but differently to what we yourself, here the whole thing was much longer, and people suffered this regime during much more time than than in Germany, the time of the Nazis.
So, like this, also you can see a little bit. I think now this day is a very different day because it's about breaking this unity which Francisco Franco was getting, which in fact was his uh, his aim to get, and finally he got it and ruled then Spain, and some people were quite okay with this regime instead maybe in Hitler's time where they were not saying anything or were avoiding to say something. Uh, Now let's try to give a last overview about the whole interview. What do you think Europe should know about what is happening today and what will happen maybe in the next few weeks?
Well, first of all, what Europe should know is that the sensation that the people have living here in Catalonia is that there is no political discourse between the Spanish government and the Catalonian government. That means that there is no real conversation going on, and there wasn't really going any conversation that was prepared to search for a political solution of this conflict. The Spanish government really used only the law to resolve, or is trying to use only the law to resolve this conflict. That means you will have prisoners, you will have people injured as you defending the law with police, with all the strengths you can have. Yeah, that I think will separate people even more for the future. Let's say separate the people in Catalonia even more, because it is not like everybody in Catalonia is for the independence, and there is also a big part of the people that are not in favor of the independence. And you really, with this situation, that the situation is coming to an escalation, you really separate the country in two parties, and you're not unifying them. And therefore, the future will be even more difficult, I suppose. To have people to come back and have to go back to the table and to discuss really a future. There must be changes. It's obvious that it's not possible to go on like this. I think Europe should be take a close eye on this process and let people vote. I think the vote is the minimum expression for everybody to feel represented in the political scenery. So if that is not guaranteed, why should we voting then? I mean, that is also for, let's say, for the Spaniards. If you want to vote that there is no monarchy anymore, then Spanish government should be able to say, okay, if there is 2 million or 5 million people who want to vote about this, then they should be openly discussing this, and not use only the law as a hard instrument, as an unmovable instrument to avoid all kind of problems. I think Spain has a constitution that is very young, but still time is progressing very fast, and you cannot have a constitution 40 years witut rethinking or rewriting certain points. When the economical crisis was going on in 2010, within 24 hours, somebody decided to change the constitution to save some banks. And now it's not possible to have people vote because the constitution doesn't allow it, even if there is millions of people not asking for the independence, but at least for the right to vote. So that should be something in the future that people should be able to achieve. I think it's part of our democracy and part of the Western world and part of Europe that these rights for voters are defended.
Perfect. Then this was our interview. I thank you a lot, and I hope Europe will understand a little bit more for now. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.